the color schemes down there, you're looking lovely. But I want for you to do something for me this morning. Maybe you have not yet said anything to the person sitting next to you. I want you to do something. I want you to turn to the person to your right and say to the person, neighbor, no, but you're not working with me, man. Say it with some attitude, man. Come on, neighbor, I would be the best looking person here if you weren't here. All right, all right, all right. Now, this is where things get exciting. Thank you so much, Randy. For all the persons who were born on a Sabbath, please stand. If you were born on a Sabbath, please stand. All right. Keep standing, keep standing. If you were born on a Tuesday, please stand. Whether you were told yes or no, please stand. All right. All the persons who are decked in the color red, please stand. Come on. You don't want me to start calling your name, so if you're in red, just stand. We're doing this because this is showing that we're all different. And we sense our need of salvation. And so we have come today with our varied challenges, varied circumstances, in the presence of the Lord, asking Him to be our guide and our sustainer. You could have been elsewhere today, but you took the time out to be in the presence of the Lord on this, the holy Sabbath day of rest, to bask in His presence. You may be seated. All our freshmen, I'm asking you kindly to stand. All our freshmen. Amen. Amen. Please give them a round of applause, please. Thank you so much. You may be seated. All our new workers, if you're here, well, I know you're here. Please stand. Our new workers. A round of applause, please. You may be seated. To our freshmen, I want to say to you, you are in an institution where you have the opportunity to hone your skills. NCU caters to the holistic development, not just the spiritual, the academic, but also your social well-being. To our new workers, submit yourselves daily to God before you work. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding, because without God, you will not be able to accomplish the task. May God bless you richly and have a wonderful Sabbath.
Let us stand and greet someone as we sing If You're Happy and You Know It.
If you're happy and you know it, say amen, say amen. If you're happy and you know it, say amen, amen. For when the Spirit calls on you, makes you shout, hallelujah.
happy in the Lord. I don't know about you. Yes, for this is the place where everybody is somebody and Jesus Christ is Lord. I join in extending warm and cordial welcome to all of you, and in particular our new students and our new workers. Thank you for joining the family right here at Northern Caribbean University. I use this opportunity to say special thanks to our elders and officers and to all of you for holding things together while I was away on vacation. We must advance the mission. Thank you for your selfless sacrifice, and let us continue to make ourselves available as a pair of gloves in God's hands, ready always to be used. I also implore you to remain faithful until he comes. For he that is to come will come and will not tarry. Pardon me if I single out in a little way my neighbors who have decided to live in the community where I lived and have decided to come and worship with us here at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Northern Caribbean University. I make mention of Elder Noel and his dear wife, Sister Thompson. Could you just stand and be recognized? Elder Noel Thompson has retired just recently as assistant chaplain for the Andrews Memorial Hospital, and his dear wife still prepares that lovely vegetarian food. She was CEO for Lynn's Vegetarian Restaurant, and she continues to do very well. Thank you for being here and for joining us in worship, and will make here your place of worship. We continue to pray for those of our company who are bereaved and those who are sick, including Sister Effie Anderson. She has been recuperating nicely, and we thank God for what he has been doing for her. We make special mention of Dr. Jacqueline Clark, who serves as one of our elders here in this church. She is bereaved, and the funeral service of her mom will take place, as you were told earlier on Sunday, September 15, 2019 at 1 p.m. at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Falmouth. For those who desire to join us as we go and give her our support, the church has engaged the services of a bus, and we do have more seats for those who desire to join us. It will cost you a small portion, but feel free to make contacts with the church pastor's office where final arrangements will be made. Bible class this afternoon will take place right here at 3:30, and thereafter we will have our AY program at 4:30. You are invited to be in attendance. These two programs have been planned with you in mind. We thank you for your continued prayers and sacrificial giving towards our church building project. May I just inform you that we have had two meetings recently, two very successful meetings of the NCU Church Building Committee. There is another meeting that is scheduled for this weekend. Well, next weekend, pardon me. That's immediately after Vesper, next week, Sabbath evening. And we continue to solicit your prayers. We will be having our members meeting, which will be, the date will be shared with you immediately after we meet at the church board, where we will make final arrangements. But the steering committee, the building committee, the church board, all these stakeholders have voted that we go right ahead and start with the money that we have available, the resuscitation program of the church building. So we continue to invite you to pray for us and to share with us from your pockets and from your purses. We also ask you when we have our building up the temple called, if you are not able to make it to the front and you have something to give, feel free to give to one of our children who will take it and insert it in the box that is provided here. May I also commend Elder Lincoln Lykin for the work that he has been doing with the Per Ministries and for the 40 Days of Per initiative that is going on very well. For those who came in later than when we started, please note that meetings take place at the gazebo each Wednesday morning. That's the gazebo that is opposite Robinson Hall each Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. So even when you go on your exercise program, join us there at the gazebo as we talk to our Father on behalf of all of us. Let us continue to pray because we know and you know that prayer is the breath of the soul. I'll leave with you a closing thought even as we prepare to build up the temple of the Lord. Ellen White says on page 70 of the book, Steps to Christ, she says, consecrate yourself to God in the morning. Let this be your first work. Let your prayer be, take us, O Lord, as wholly thine. We lay all our plans at your feet. Use us today in your service. Abide with us, and may all our works be wrought in thee. And she closes by saying, this is a daily work. Let us make it our daily work as we share in this experience of consecration. We are now building up the temple of the Lord. And as the musicians tune their instruments for this purpose, we will have a baptismal service that will take place immediately after our divine service. This will take place up at the pool at the main auditorium. Building up the temple, building up the temple, building up the temple of the Lord, building up the temple. We are building up the temple, building up the temple, building up the temple of the Lord, building up the temple, building up the temple, building up the temple of the Lord. So, brothers, won't you help us? Sisters, won't you help us? Building up the temple of the Lord. Brothers, won't you help us? Sisters, won't you help us? Building up the temple of the Lord. We are building up the temple, building up the temple, building up the temple of the Lord. Building up the temple, building up the temple, building up the temple of the Lord. Thank you so much for your gifts, and may God continue to bless you richly. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, it is my joy to present to you our University President, Dr. Lincoln Paul Edwards, who will come at this time and bring us greetings. God bless you as we worship him today.
Pastor Joel A., pastor of the Northern Caribbean University Church, and other members of the clergy. Guest speaker, Pastor Francis West, pastor of the Mandeville Seventh-day Adventist Church, his wife, Mrs. West, and their son, university administrators, faculty and staff, parents of our freshmen and returning students worshiping with us today, all other special guests and members of the Northern Caribbean University Church, and our freshmen and returning students. Good morning. It is my signal honor to greet you and to welcome you to the NCU worship experience today. As we begin this semester, for some of you it is a brand new experience, and for others it is the continuation of a mission that was started some time ago. I pray that God will grant you the sustenance that you need to function in your role as His faithful servant, whether you are a student, staff, faculty, or administrator. Today, as we participate in this consecration service, let us remember that to consecrate ourselves essentially means to wholly dedicate ourselves to something of greatest importance. When spoken plainly, however, consecration refers to the act of setting ourselves aside and dedicating ourselves to God. And so I encourage you today to wholly consecrate yourselves to Him as we begin this new journey of discovery for this new and final semester of our 100-year celebration right here in the parish of Manchester. Additionally, NCU is here to help you accomplish your goals of academic excellence underpinned by values-based focus and social and spiritual development. The mandate of the Creator is that we cater to the various needs of those under our care. And so we would do well to remind ourselves of the words of Ellen White in the book Education, and I quote, "Every human being created in the image of God is endowed with a power akin to the Creator, individuality, power to think and to do. It is the work of true education to develop this power, to train the youth to be thinkers and not mere reflectors of other men's thought. Let them contemplate the great facts of duty and destiny, and the mind will expand and strengthen. Instead of educated weaklings, institutions of learning may send forth men and women strong to think and to act, men and women who are masters and not slaves of circumstances, men and women who possess breadth of mind, clearness of thought, and the courage of their conviction. Such an education strengthens the character so that truth and uprightness are not sacrificed to selfish desire or worldly ambition." End quote. These words penned by Ellen White more than 100 years ago sum up quite succinctly the reason for our being here. We are here to facilitate the growth, development, and building of our students to fulfill their destiny as they exercise the courage of their conviction to the honor and glory of God. As we wholeheartedly welcome you back, we want you all to understand that the call to consecration was extended to you, our students, as well as to our workers. So we are in this together with God. Your being here is an indication that you want to further be fitted to continue to fulfill God's purpose. So again, I say welcome to the NCU Church, and may we be showered with the rich and abundant blessings from God this day and always. Welcome again.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, I'm going to be very honest and transparent. This morning, I'm a little nervous, so I need all the support I can get. Good morning, everyone. All right, so children, when you come up, we have provided sitting areas so you can sit on the blankets. So I'm going to ask you to come up while we sing the song, Jesus loves the little children. Have a seat, please. morning? No parents? That's fine. All right. So, Happy New Year, everyone. It's Happy New Year. Happy New School Year. Happy New Year, everyone. All right. So, today we're going to have a little conversation. Usually on a Sabbath, we hear a story, and I think that when you hear a story, there is not as much participation and listening. So today we're going to have a conversation. Who knows what a conversation is? Yes, Jemima, what is a conversation?
A conversation is when a group of people talk about an interesting thing.
Oh my goodness. Church, did you hear that? All right, so today we are going to talk about a very interesting thing. We are going to talk about this word. What is this word? What is that word? Obedience. All right, and we are going to sing this song. Do we know this song? Who knows this song? All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to sing the obedience song together. All the aunties and uncles and the bigger children at heart are going to sing with us. So after 2, and I can't sing. I'm being very transparent today. I can't sing, so I'm going to need you guys to sing with me. All right, so after 2, 1, 2. Obedience is the very best way to show that you believe. Doing exactly what the Lord commands, doing it happily. Action is the key, do it immediately. Joy you will receive. Obedience is the very best way to show that you be. So spell it O-B-E-D-I-E-N-C-E. Yes, sir. Obedience is the very best way. Yay! I don't think I did too badly with the singing. Whew. All right. So, what are we having today at church? What is the special Sabbath that we're having? Who knows? Who knows? Why are there so many new persons here? It's a good time? All right, so today we're having new workers and new students consecration. Who knows what this word consecrate means? Who knows what consecrate means? All right, so I'm going to tell you. Consecrate means to put aside for special use, usually something that is holy. So all these persons here today, ourselves included, are going to be consecrated. What is that word? Consecrated. Yes, so that is that word. All right, so the story today is going to be about this cute little map right here that I made. All right, so this is a 3rd month status update of the children of Israel. So you know that the children of Israel were here, right? They were in Egypt, right? And then God told Moses to get his people out. We know that story, right? All right, so when they went through the Red Sea, and you know how Moses stretched out his rod over the Red Sea, and the Red Sea parted and opened up, and they walked on dry ground. We know that, right? All right, so we are going on a trek now, and the children of Israel are here at Mount Sinai, and God is going to do something really, really cool for them at Mount Sinai. He's going to give them something that we'd like to call rules of engagement. All right? So, he's going to give them rules. Yes, Deborah, he's going to give them some rules. Who knows what these rules are called? What do we call these rules?
The 10 Commandments.
We call them the 10 Commandments. But do we really know the story of how it happened? Like, do we really, really know? Do you know the sequence of events? No? All right, so we're going to listen to the story straight from the Bible this morning of how the Just a moment. We're having some technical difficulties. All right. Ready? Are we ready to listen? All right, let's go.
Exodus 19. On the first day of the third month after the Israelites left Egypt, on that very day, they came to the desert of Sinai. After they set out from Rephidim, they entered the desert of Sinai, and Israel camped there in the desert in front of the mountain. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the descendants of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt, how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites." So Moses went back and summoned the elders of the people and set before them all the words the Lord had commanded him to speak. The people all responded together, "We will do everything the Lord has said." So Moses brought their answer back to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, "I am going to come to you in a dense cloud, so that the people will hear me speaking with you and will always put their trust in you." Then Moses told the Lord what the people had said. And the Lord said to Moses, "Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. Have them wash their clothes and be ready by the third day, because on that day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. Put limits for the people around the mountain and tell them, 'Be careful that you do not approach the mountain or touch the foot of it.'"
All right, so God gave Moses rules to give to the children of Israel. What did he tell them to do? What were they supposed to do? They were supposed to
Wash their clothes.
They were supposed to wash their clothes. Good one. I'm coming around.
And do the laundry.
Right. So they were supposed to wash their clothes and be ready. So, AKA doing the laundry. And yes, just a moment, coming around.
And not to touch the foot of the mountain.
Not to touch the foot of the mountain. So that would be considered a rule. A rule that Moses gave them was not to touch the foot of the mountain, because if they were to touch the foot of the mountain, they would die. All right. So then Moses went up, and he descended up into the clouds, and the people could actually hear God talking to Moses. Don't you think that would have been a really awesome experience to hear the voice of God talking to Moses? Don't you think, kids? All right, I think so. All right, so there was lightning and thunder. There was a storm show up there, right? And some of us, myself included, may have been a little bit adventurous and curious, and I probably would have been one of those persons who would have wanted to see what was going on up there. But God said, "Do not touch the mountain. Don't come up there." All right, so while Moses was up there talking with God, God gave Moses something. What did God give Moses in his hands? Yes.
The 10 Commandments.
You sure? You sure?
Yes.
All right, so God gave Moses the 10 Who knows all 10 of the commandments? All right, so we are going to look at a very simplified version of the 10 Commandments this morning. Thank you, Justin. All right, so let's read the 10 Commandments together. Commandment number 1. Have no other gods but me. Number 2. Do not worship statues. Number 3. Be careful with God's name.